What's going on, y'all? This is Cruz with Cruise Control Entertainment. Today we got a special episode at Studio 312, the best barbershop in the borough. Got C over there. I can see the glizzy poking through the jacket. She's trying to be discreet today. But, you know, today we got the owner of Studio 312, Chy The Barber. What up, what up?
What's going on, good people? How y'all living? Life is good. It's always good.
Oh, damn.
Trying to get that twisted tea in there.
Yeah, the Twisted Tea is something, you know.
That blickadoo tea.
I'm trying to make it special, but nobody ever wants to drink it. I think they're scared.
Tell them be scared when that sponsorship come through too.
Right, exactly, because
Nervous.
if they wasn't here with us, they ain't gonna be there with us. So listen, Chy The Barber, Chy, you got this. We're blessed to have you. You know, let us use this space for our show. We had to get you on the show so that people could see who because they always come here like, this is your shop. I'm like, nah, my man Chy. And I point at your chair, but you're like, you ain't here. So if you want to explain to the people who you are and why you are.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the better question to be is what I'm not, man. Done. Not done.
Right.
But I'm just, your friendly neighborhood barber, man. I'm an implant here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, from the south side of Chicago, Illinois. I've had this shop now for about 2 years. I've been cutting hair for about 4 years, and, you know, God opened some doors for me. So if you're in a position for your blessing, that means you need to, you know, open the door for somebody else. So when you pitch the whole idea, I'm like, hey, yeah, run with that. Whatever you need. That's what this space is meant to be, a creative space for everybody.
Mm-hmm. You remember I came with like papers, like showing like what I would be able to offer and everything, and you was like, I don't need that. You already sold me.
Yeah. Hey. But what I respected about it though is you had your business plan in order. To me, that's what that looked like. Somebody who was serious about it. Because if he wasn't serious about it, if he was, most people that's just talking, it's just words. It ain't nothing more behind it.
Right.
But when you come with that kind of representation of your idea, I can stand behind that because, you know, at the end of the day, I know you're gonna be serious about it. You're gonna treat it as, you know, the same way you presented it. So.
And it's crazy how it came about because I told C about it like during the pandemic, like, hey, once we get a venue, I got this idea of what we're gonna do, and that I was getting a haircut by
Jay Blends.
By Jay. Shout out Jay Blends. Yes. And I'm gonna get to that after. I ain't get my haircut nowhere else, but so Jay Blends, he ended up coming over here, and I'm like, yo, once I seen that corner right there, I was like, this is it. I hit up C, talked to Jay, but yeah, it's a dope spot, man. So you said you only been cutting hair for 4 years.
4 years.
I didn't know that. I thought you was a motherfucking 10 years in. 4 years.
I got a obsessive personality, man, so I got to be careful what I associate myself with. I don't know how to half-ass nothing. It's do it or don't do it. If you look over that shit, the ink on my license still wet, honestly.
That's great. So 4 years, that's because I started cutting my own hair. So that's what I was going to get to. So I've been doing it for like 5 months now, cut my own hair. And that shit ain't easy. Like, y'all make it look so easy. Nah. So I'm in there. I had to wear hats. I've been wearing hats.
But you practicing on one head too, right? So,
yeah.
So you gotta wait 2.5 weeks before you could practice again. If you was to add some more repetitions in that, I'm sure, because from what it looked like, the one thing a barber could tell is if somebody executed their haircut before them well by the way your hair grow back, right? So in your case, I looked at your hair as soon as you came in. Most barbers do that. If you ever met a barber, understand the first thing they doing is they sizing up your haircut, right?
Yeah.
You're doing a good job, bro.
Really?
Because the grow back is consistent. It's growing back into a fade the same way you put a fade on it. So
you're
doing a good job.
Yeah, my girl, she got me a trifold mirror and all that. So I've been, you know, being able to see it. So you got to open up a chair in here.
Say less. Say less.
Give me a chair. Because they always asking me, yo, let me get a cut. I'm like, nah, I don't cut here, man.
You be surprised. And look, that's how the door was open for me. So, hey, it'll open up for you.
That's fire. So what made you say, you know, 4 years you've been doing this, 2 years you had this shop. So you was only cutting hair for 2 years when you decided I'm going to open my own barbershop.
Yeah, I was still in school.
What made you like jump out the window like that?
Okay, so the whole purpose of cutting hair, right? The whole purpose of barbering as a career was just an attempt to purchase my time back. I was allocating so much of my time away from my family, being, you know, trying to provide. So you work 80 hours a week, and then you sleep another whatever many hours a week. It's not much left,
right?
You know, so barbering was kind of an attempt to figure out something else I can do that could, you know, pay me the same wage where I can still financially support my family, while being able to kind of purchase back some of my time. So I was in school, and the things that I do is I pay attention, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at a condition or something and I'm seeing that is not conducive to the environment that I want to work in, I'm always figuring in my mind what things can be done better, what countermeasures can be put in place to kind of improve on the environment.
Right.
So I did that in school. I did that in the barbershop I was working in, 2 barbershops I was working in. So within a year's time, I was school in 2 shops. And it was like, okay, the condition that I want to work in doesn't exist, in, at least in the places I've been.
Right.
And then I went around to some other barbershops as part of my research just to kind of see what they was doing that was working and what they was doing that wasn't working. And a lot of what I was looking for just didn't exist. Nobody was doing it. So it was like, all right, well, the only way I'm going to be able to get this or even make it available for somebody else, a landing spot for somebody who coming through it the same way I am, is if I, create it. I got to go out and make it.
Right.
You got to, you know what I mean?
Right. You
So,
got to create your reality.
Yeah, so I kind of stepped out on faith. Going into barber school was stepping out on faith, all that. Having a child, stepping out on faith. So
Yeah.
this was just another testament of, all right, well, shit, he been blessing me up until this point. Let me just go ahead and step out on faith again and see what doors he open.
No, that's hard. And that's something about, putting the work in, because God sends us, signals all the time. It's whether we receive it or not.
Absolutely.
So it's like he sends you, you're not just thinking that for no reason.
Nah.
So it's like, okay, let me plant this. He like, let me plant this, see if you'll put the work in with this.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something crazy, bro. Do you believe in, or what, do you not believe in, have you ever heard of angel numbers?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
I had never heard of that, ever. I was working in a chemical plant, bro.
Okay.
And I kept seeing 444. I can't express it enough how, like, awkward and weird it was how much I was seeing 444.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about on the back of police cars. I would wake up in the morning to get my daughter ready for school, and for, like, a month, it was 444 when I got up type. Like, I know this going to sound like a conspiracy. I'm looking at the camera. Hey, don't judge me. Judge your mama. But anyway.
I believe it.
I kept seeing it, and I talked to one of my homegirls. Her name Chy The Barber. And she's spiritual, real in tune with spirituality and awareness of self. And I'm like, man, I keep seeing this number. You just told me some stuff. You a vegan. You just changed your life. Yeah. What does number mean? Maybe you know something that I don't know.
Right.
And she hit me to the angel numbers. And I looked it up. And for those who don't know, 444 is representation of an angel or a loved one in your life giving you the go-ahead to keep moving forward in whatever things that you're trying to do. Whatever road that you're traveling, whatever path that you've laid out or goals you want to reach, however you're going about doing it, if you consistently seeing a number, that's your sign to keep moving. Keep doing that. Keep moving. Don't stop. Lean further into that. So I did. You know, I was a addictive personality, bro. So I leaned all the way into it, and everything that I set as a goal, God blew the doors off of that. I wasn't ready for the blessing that I was about to receive.
The thing that's crazy though is that you were ready. Like you in that moment you thought you weren't ready, but like everything that you went through in life prepped you for that time right there.
Definitely.
So it's crazy, like, when our time, because I was hip to the angels numbers these past couple of years because my girl's like a tarot reader and she does all this. I call her a witch, but she don't like that shit. She don't like that. But I've been seeing 666 at work, and our whole life we're like, oh man, like that's the devil's number, all that. And she's like, nah, that's like a number for change or something. Like you're ready to like grow and evolve, and it's crazy. I'm seeing it at work. Every time at work, she's like, oh, you don't need to be there because it's saying like you need to grow from that. So yeah, I'm hip to that. So let's talk about what were you doing 5 years ago then if you wasn't cutting hair?
Working in the chemical plant, man. I was working in a place called Palm Commodities. Believe it or not, I'm not college educated. I got a high school diploma. I did some time in college, but that was more to fulfill my mother's ability to tell her friends, my son is in college type, right? School wasn't my thing. It wasn't for me. It wasn't what I wanted to do. But I was in a chemical plant, man, and I came in putting stickers on shipping pads.
Like hazard stickers?
Yep. Not even I wasn't even qualified to do that.
Oh damn, you need a qualification.
Yeah, you gotta go through DOT qualification because anything you put a hazardous sticker on is gonna be on the road. Anything on the road has to be within DOT certifications, right? Hazmat DOT certifications. I came in putting stickers.
That's crazy.
This is this on the side of pills, and I have a inquisitive. I have an eye for detail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole time I'm working in this chemical plant, I'm trying to figure out what can I do to put myself in a better position where I can maximize what I'm making here, but they can also see the value of who I am as a human being.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have a college education don't mean that I'm not capable of learning the same things that those people who went through that process learned. You know, if you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept showing up first, right? I kept showing up. I kept putting in the work. Every time I would finish what I would do, I would try to get done with it early so that I can go and bug somebody to teach me something.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved from that to forklift operation. They found out that I knew how to drive a forklift. I moved from that. That got me a little closer to the lab, so I was able to kind of rub elbows with people that study stoichology and physics and all these other things. Like they in the lab with white coats on type, right? But I knock on their door on my lunchtime and just talk to them for my lunch. I ain't gonna eat lunch. I'm gonna go talk to them because it's more valuable. It's more value in that conversation than it is in that lunchroom.
Right.
So I would go do that. And within 5-6 months, they put me on my first batch where I start helping mix big batch reactions. That's taking rare earth elements and diluting it with deionized water and reintroducing acid bases in it to turn it into a chemical form.
Damn.
Now that goes into everything like your mic, glass, the camera lens, batteries was a big part of what we did. Batteries, like car batteries and electric vehicles. Everything down to the little small batteries. All those have chemical bases in them, properties. And
so you a chemist.
Slick. Slick. But I ain't got no college education though.
Right.
But it's just a testament to you're only capable of what you're willing to limit yourself to be.
Hard. That's a clip.
Facts.
Did you clip it?
Facts, it was recorded.
Nah, that's hard. So you're also with, and I'm gonna keep mentioning 4 years because that just blew my whole shit. I thought this was your life. You know what I'm saying? So I was you hired me to do a class with you at the Empire. Was it Empire Beauty School?
Yeah.
You're teaching classes.
Yeah.
With 4 years, almost 5 years experience.
Yeah.
How are you so comfortable? Because that's why I'm still surprised you said 4 years because how comfortable you was up there telling them and answering every question they had. Like,
honestly, bro, it's because I mean it. I give a fuck. I do. Like, beyond what it could do for me, I care about what value can I give somebody else. I'm a true believer that everybody's purpose on earth, your purpose on earth is to be a servant of the Lord, right? I don't go to church though. Now make that make sense. But that's encoded in you.
Yeah.
To be a servant of people.
Exactly.
What you're doing right now, you're being a servant of people. Every time somebody come and talk to you or they may ask you something and you have any inclination inside of you to respond to get them anything back that's positive, that's that subservient energy that's in you that you don't control, right? Well, I was in a position where I was blessed again with learning this stuff, to learn how to cut hair. My whole life, I've never been afraid to talk to nobody. I'm from the south side of Chicago, bro. It's not too many conversations I can't be a part of, right? But if somebody is in a position where they're willing to absorb what I'm willing to give them, say less. I'm there. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to overdo it, right? They didn't pay me to be there. But I'm going to pay somebody to come and capture it. That way it can reach more people.
That's fine.
I just feel like just be authentic in what you do. I'm authentic. What you see is what you get with me.
You know, it's crazy. Now I feel like shit because I should have brought that whole file since you was going to be here.
Oh, no, you good.
The whole one. I got like the whole 1 hour.
Ain't no expiration on it. You got it, it's there.
Damn, now I'm tight. I ain't fucking bring it.
You got it, it's there. But what we did get off of it, it's already then presented 3 more opportunities. You understand that? You probably don't know that because you've been so busy and I've been so busy we ain't linked up. But from what I posted, from what you did capture, the whole the clip that you made, that had 2 more schools contact me.
Wow.
Like, are you still available? I got one coming up in April, and I got another coming up in the end of May.
That's fine.
So it's still presenting opportunities, bro. So I don't know, man. It's just go out and do it.
Right. And that's my thing. I tell people they wanna wait to start something till it's the perfect time, and I tell people there ain't no perfect time.
It's not. There's no more perfect time than the present.
Right. So you got a podcast you're a part of.
I do. I cut my way out.
I want you to talk about that because not a lot of people understand the barber community. People just think about their haircut.
Yeah, big time. I think the podcast, I was like now, I was a guest, and we had a conversation, and a year later, I got contacted by the guy, Chy The Barber, Oshawa Knox, and he was like, man, how would you feel about being a co-host on the podcast? You know, we went back and we was looking through some of the interviews, and we like your energy. I'm like, yeah, shit, whatever, you know, for the culture. And I say that to say that's the biggest part of barbering that gets left out.
Yep.
Social media, I have you believe that it's all about haircuts and antics and all these other things, but it's a whole big culture within the hair and beauty industry that unfortunately doesn't get discovered by people in the industry. You have a lot of people coming in the industry, and they coming in during the era of social media. They're limited to their experiences versus the guys who've been in the industry for 20, 30 years. They kind of know what it feel like to be in a shop 11 hours, not sitting down, and not just the feeling of cutting hair that whole time, but the experience in the shop. Versus now people coming in during the social media kind of phenomenon, it's almost they're living their experience through their phones. Right. Or through their cameras or through their computers. And I feel like the I Cut My Way Out podcast kind of represents another way to see that and kind of bring some light to that experience. Getting barbers on, getting guys on that's been in the industry for a while, that's making a lot of noise in the industry. Yeah. Because we done brought on some dudes that's enormous in the barbering industry, right? And then when they get the opportunity to get on that platform and they can give you another perspective, right? Right. Like when I see you, most people that know you probably only know you from Cruise Control and your music. But when I talk to you, you've shared experiences that I know beyond that. So it's like I see more content in your character. You feel me? Right. So for me, that's kind of what the podcast represents. That's why I was so gung-ho to do it, because it's like, hell yeah, that's another way to put a platform out there for the culture. Everybody want to say they for the culture, but they only for the culture when the culture is paying them to be that way. Right.
That's how Al Sharpton is, but that's a whole nother story. but no, that's like what you said. I feel like people take barbers and hairstylists, even nail techs. Everyone takes them for granted, because you see when COVID happened, everybody lost their shit when they couldn't go to their barber.
Not everybody, because what's the ex-mayor out of Chicago? What was it? Something foot, left foot, light foot.
I don't know.
Listen, bro. She was going to get that thing faded and bladed all through the pandemic.
Really?
That was part of the thing they was bringing up. You supposed to be the mayor and the representative of the state, but you still going and stepping outside the guidelines that you set forth for the people to get a haircut. Yeah. And she took a stand. It's probably the only thing good she ever did for Chicago was take that stand. Like,
oh my God.
Nah, I'm representation of the state. If I'm gonna be on TV, you're gonna be presenting me publicly. I feel it is best in my best interest and the best interest of the people that I represent. To be the best representation.
Because once somebody see her on TV with the busted cut, everybody got memes now.
Now you comparing her to the crackhead
out
of St. Louis.
Right.
You feel me? Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah, it get like that.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot more respect came to barbers and all like beauty. The beauty industry is, because after COVID, it's like shit. I'll pay whatever to get my hair cut. Yeah. So now it was like inflation type. I'm a client of a barber, so you tell me if I'm wrong. But from what I seen after COVID, it was inflation everywhere. So with barbering, prices went up with barbering as well, and it was like, damn, I don't give a fuck if it's 100, I'm there. But then that shit started fading out, and now I'm just cutting my own hair. So you tell me how that impacted the barber industry in your end.
I feel like financially, inflation, you can't really place it on the shoulders of COVID. COVID definitely impacted the prices that I would say COVID impacted the price changes of barbers who were unwilling to change their prices before COVID. Because here's another part of the culture. There's always two sides to that argument. You got the guys who feel like what they're charging is sufficient for what they want to do and how they want to live their life. It's fair to the client, so on and so forth. They got all these reasons and anchoring points to keep them where they are. And then you have guys in the industry that's continuing to try to push what they do forward. And in order to do that, unfortunately, you're going to build more of a clientele. You're going to grow more of a clientele. In order to continue to do that at a sufficient pace, right, and not overwork yourself or be able and available to do those other things, you have to raise your price in order to shed the weight of the people who aren't willing to go in that direction with you, right? I think that COVID helped encourage those guys who was on the other side of the argument that I'm good where I'm at to kind of raise their prices. But for the most part, I believe it was because of the health risk that's now associated with barbering. Right. Now you're not just cutting somebody's hair and, you know, you worried about them bleeding. Now you cutting somebody's hair and you worried about them sneezing or coughing. Right. And you could take it home. It might not affect you, but you could take it home to your kids.
Yep. And
that'd be done for your shorty off of you cutting hair. So now you got to associate your value versus your risk. I think that also got a lot of barbers who put their clippers down. That was the cost was too high. Yeah. Right? And I get that. I do. But I think inflation was going to affect barbering eventually anyway. Right. Just speaking from the city that we live in, right? The cost of living has increased exponentially. Yeah. The cost of eggs, bread, milk, gas, water, I'm talking about basic necessities, has increased, if not doubled. So I don't see any industry or professionalism somewhere where when you're investing time, you're investing money into the materials to put that time in. I don't see no industry nowhere that hasn't increased their price. Look at the cost of the auto market right now. Yeah. There's places now that's expecting you to put $20,000 down for a $40,000 vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, this is the reality we live in. Yep. I don't feel like barbering has always been last playing catch up to the cost of living. Yeah. Barbering and waitresses, if you really look at it, right? Waitresses are still being significantly underpaid. Shout out to Waffle House. Oh, shout out to Waffle House. Shout out to Waffle House. They getting significantly underpaid for what they do. You know, they dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. If you really think about the industry of a waitress, a cocktail waitress, or a server at a restaurant, right? Think about this, right? I'm going to just paint this picture. If you take the personality of that person out of the business, how much would that impact the business? If you take the bartender's personality away, if it was just a robot, you press a button to serve your drink.
That should be trash.
If it was just, every table you went to was just that little machine where you order your food, somebody drop it off, don't say nothing to you. Right. How much would that impact the business?
Yeah, that wouldn't make it exciting. I might as well just Uber Eats that shit to the crib.
What's the difference from going through the drive-thru, right? You're probably going to get more of a personality going through the drive-thru. Right. But those people are still severely underpaid. They the people who keeping people coming in. A lot of people go into places that have waiters, especially Waffle House, for the characteristics and the quality of the person that served them the last time they went. We can make Waffle House at the crib.
No, that's a fact.
Easy. Granny been making that since I was a shorty. Right. But I go to Waffle House because I know I'm going to get an experience too. I can sit down and get my coffee while I'm waiting on my food, and I can have a conversation. I can connect with a person. Right. So, yeah, I feel like that's just inflation is going to happen. It's inevitable. But if you pay attention to the world, and you pay attention to what type of barber you got. If you got a barber that's trying to move forward in this industry, they active on social media. They active with marketing themselves. That's the biggest one to pay attention to. If your barber is active in marketing himself, expect price to go up because the demand for him is going to increase. Right. As long as the demand increases, the price has to. Because I can't cut hair for $20 and I got 20,000 clients. Right. You know, people, a lot of people see that as like a better thing. Like they charge low with more clients when you're not making, you're putting in more work. You'll make money. $20 for 20,000 clients, that's a lot of money. But that's also a lot of time. Like, it's going to be shitty haircuts. It's a lot of time lost. A lot of sacrifice. Yeah. That's not sustainable for somebody that has a family. Right. It's exactly. It's not sustainable for somebody that got something else they doing. Let's say you got hobbies. Shit, you like sleep. Right. It ain't sustainable, bro.
Can't sleep.
It's not sustainable because the demand is too high. You got to think about it like this. Even McDonald's didn't raise their price. Ain't no dollar menu no more.
That's a fact. That's crazy.
The McChicken is $3 now.
That's a fact.
Ain't no dollar menu no more, bro. They
do the bundles now.
Facts.
Which is still like whatever.
It is, but you got to think about it. That's the adjustment to business. Right.
It's still make it look like you're receiving something.
The more you grow, you have to adjust your business model. That's where a lot of businesses fail. People grow and they try to grow within the same confines of their original business model. Where that original business model was for you to get your foundation. But once your foundation is laid and you start to build bricks on that foundation, that business model that you laid down is no longer sustained. It can't sustain the weight of what you're doing. You got to grow. You got to adjust and change that business model to make sure that you can sustain what you're growing to.
Right.
I think personally, these are all unprofessional, uneducated, because I don't have a college education, right?
What does a college education even mean? So
Slick.
What I want to know is what's something on this journey that you've been on. I would say you've been on a journey your whole life, but like these past 5 years, what's something that you regret, if you have any regrets in the risks that you taken, the losses that you taken. What's something that you wish you could have done different?
That's a great question, man. That is a great question. I would say some things that I regret. First and foremost, is I didn't put more emphasis in the beginning on creating balance between career and family. Where I feel like I'm finding it now.
Yeah.
And really, I feel like I'm in a position to be able to create that balance now. I feel like even if not being in that position early on in my pursuit of this career, my pursuit of this journey, had I dedicated more time to trying to maintain that balance, there was a lot of arguments, there was a lot of blow-ups, there was a lot of hurdles that could have been avoided. Another real big one, shout out my wife. Listen.
Shout out to the wife.
Shout out my wife. One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't listen to her more. For real.
Don't tell me that. You gonna have me going home listening to shit.
For real. Look, if you find somebody, man, that not only can see your vision, but they can see you fulfilling that vision enough where they support it in whatever means that they're supporting it, whatever means that because everybody don't support the same way, right? But that don't mean that it's not support.
Right.
If you find somebody like that, if you find a spouse like that, a partner like that, don't devalue them the way that I was by not listening and taking their advice at face. I think a lot of times my wife will offer me great advice, but because I was tunnel vision, it fell on deaf ears. Yeah. So I'm more, it's like, I hear you, but I gotta, you know what I'm saying? And then I get all the way up the road and be like,
damn.
Hey, what was that you said like 2 months ago?
Right.
Yeah, that's the move. Yeah. And I'm learning now, this far into it, that the more I'm willing to be as much of a sponge as I'm attempting to be the information I'm putting out, the better the journey and the better the spaces and environments and the advice and the experience I can give to other people, the better advice I can give to you. Right. The better advice I can give to an upcoming barber. Because now I can give you the advice from my experiences barbering, but I can also give you my advice from my experiences integrating the things that I've been taught by my wife. Because she's an intelligent woman, Right. I would say the people around me, that's something else that I've been putting into like heavy rotation, is opening those lines of communication wide open. Because just because you don't share the same way of looking at things, you don't have to share a perspective to share an idea.
That's hard.
And it's a lot of people that have a different set of eyes from a different perspective on the same problem, and they can offer you a more tangible solution. But if you're not receptive to the information, you fucking up for everybody. Right. And I'm in a position where if I'm dropping the bag, that affects everybody around me. Right. So I have to be open to receive that. So yeah, those two. The last one I would say is keeping my foot on the neck. And I don't want to say people in general, because I'm going to put it to you like this, right? And people can take this how they want to take it, right? Yeah. Anybody in your field of work, when it's between the lines, it's just like sports for me. I played football my whole life. I wrestled, I boxed, I played basketball, I bowl. If it's sports related, I've done it or I do it, right? Yeah. When it's in between them lines, we ain't cool. Yeah. It's pressure. You got to get out of my way. I got to do what I got to do. Once the game is over, once the whistle is blown and the clock go off, we cool. It's all cool. Right. It's all love. I'm going to do whatever. I'll give the shirt off my back.
Keep between the lines.
But when it's between the lines, so when I say that, I mean in the sense of marketing. At some point, I think it was once I started to identify that the quality of what I was producing with my phone versus the quality I could be producing, had I invested more into actual visual quality materials, tools. Once I saw that, I took my foot off the pressure and I stopped using my phone because every time I would look at it, it's like, it ain't worth the post.
You know what it could be.
Exactly. But what I regret about that is I should have kept going.
Yep.
Because posting at the rate that I was and doing the things that I was doing was putting a lot of antennas up. I was getting a lot of people come and say, hey, bro, I've been seeing you. Even people who reluctantly didn't want to say it, they still, when they see me, like, hey, yeah. At one point, it felt like I was, every time I pull up my social media, it's like I was on your page. And it's like, man, what happened? You ain't cutting. I had somebody ask me, you don't cut hair no more?
Just because you stopped posting content.
Because I disappeared.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, that's a reminder that it's just like with this, you have to be consistent. Even if the quality isn't, the end result of what you're creating isn't necessarily where you want it to be, you still got to be consistent, because no matter what your identity of what that product is, somebody else sees it and they love what it is, right where it is. So if you keep on, it's just like, okay, prime example, Twisted Tea.
Twisted Tea. Shout out to Twisted
Tea. Sponsorship coming.
Yes,
soon.
sir.
When Twisted Tea came out, wasn't nobody really rocking with it. It had a very specific demographic of people who were supporting Twisted Tea, right? Then Twisted Tea changed the can. Then they gave, you can get a 22 ounce of Twisted Tea. Now you want to get a little buzz or you want to get drunk. Right. You got them options, right?
Yeah.
Then they start integrating more commercials. Twisted Tea was just something that was just there. And then they start to build on what they got. When it came out, those very specific demographic of people were happy with the product. The more they build into it, it started to draw more attraction. What they did is they took a net this big and they stretched it out and they started casting a bigger net, right? Yeah. Now it's to the point where Twisted Tea went viral like 20 times. Yeah. Off people somebody got smacked with it. Yeah.
That's the first time I ever heard of Twisted Tea.
Now picture that.
That's good marketing.
Right? That's great marketing. Great marketing.
And people realized it because of the label. If it wasn't this yellow color, nobody would knew what can
Absolutely.
it was.
That's color theory. But that's a whole nother conversation. But that's another one of them things that because I don't know if you remember, you kind of young. When Twisted Tea first came out, it was in a brown glass bottle. It didn't have no yellow label on it.
This is all I know it as.
It looked like tea.
Okay.
Like, it was so undistinguishable from regular tea that you would pick it up thinking it was tea. Right. Until somebody tell you, that's alcohol.
And that's the problem. That's why this shit be having.
Absolutely. So that's.
I'm on my second can. I feel like I've been drinking juice.
Oh man, I thought, oh wow.
Nah, this is my second.
I'm playing. Look, after I seen dude get slapped with this, I take it easy on this.
You don't want to end up slapping somebody
with it?
I
take it easy on the Twisted Tea. I'll ease into it. Yeah. I walk that thing down. I'm not running on nothing.
Yeah, this it just tastes good. That's the thing, like with Twisted Tea. That's why I like it.
It do, and they ain't got no bite.
Yeah, don't. No bite. That's the scary part.
And then you got it cold too. That's a setup.
Yeah, because it's just refreshing.
That's a setup.
That's the importance of marketing and branding, because say you said it was just a brown can before. If somebody got smacked upside the head with just a brown
bottle,
no, you would have thought it was Miller Lite, Heineken. Like, could have thought it was.
It's implement your favorite beer here.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But so how does that relate to your business? Because your logo stood out to me, and that's why I wanted to come and do my show here, because it just pops. It's classy. It matches with the burgundy. Like, what was your whole thought process with that? Because like you said, colors bring,
They provoke emotion, definitely. Really, the crimson and the gray was to create a warm, inviting environment, right? That's my only objective with that color theory. I could have went blue, white, red, all those things, but crimson and gray both are calming colors. The gray, you see it in hospitals, you see it in prisons, you see it in children's schools. Yeah. It's intentional. It's supposed to calm you down, make you sit down, be cool.
Oh wow, okay.
Yellow is bright, it's loud, it's alarming. It kind of provokes endorphin. Right? The crimson opposed to red. Red is like a warning. Like it that's why stop signs are red. It's supposed to draw your attention to overpay attention. Right. Versus a crimson, which is more of a soothing color, but it's still within the fatter family of red. Red is my favorite color, hands down, right? So represents the identity of who I am, right? Your place of business has to be representation of you, right? And then it also it fits into color theory, right?
Right.
Boom. The logo, the shop, everything. And really, this is just the foundation. It's still so much that we doing with this place. More so once we move into a bigger space, because honestly, within 2 years, we really outgrowing this space.
Yeah.
To be honest,
especially with the work you're doing on social media now, I'm sure that's impacting
everybody in here though.
Yeah.
Everybody in here. Honestly, if you take me out this shop is still going to thrive and grow because everybody has bought into the objective. Everybody has bought into the quality of what you get as far as your purchase and your product. The quality of service that you get with that product, the identity and characteristics of the people that you're dealing with as far as professionalism, being able to communicate with you and being able to make whatever it is and however they present their characteristics consistent, right? Then on top of that, everybody active on social media for the most part, right? We still got some guys that we kind of pulling to get a little bit more active, but anything beyond nothing is better than nothing, right?
Right.
But yeah, so the logo on the wall, that wall was important to me because it was I want it to be the first thing you see when you come in. Because that's where I'm from. That's my home. That's my heart.
Right.
That's what got me to this point. So when you come in here, the first nod is gonna be the nod of where I came from.
Right.
Right. Then you get the environment and you get everything else. But it's I think the biggest component of any business is gonna be you, whoever the person is that's starting the business, because business has a way of becoming a reflection of the person who has the most stake in it.
Right.
If your representation of yourself is lacking, your environment is gonna start to
it'll rub off on everybody.
It'll mirror that. Yeah, definitely. I've worked in situations like that where they had great environments, but because of that unwillingness to address their own characteristic flaws, their characteristics and their lack of whatever it was that they had in their life started to dictate the space.
Right.
Once it starts to do that, well, first the people who work in it feel it, but the worst thing that can happen is the people who patronize that business feel it. Once it gets to that point, that's almost, you can't fix that until you get rid of that person. You know what I mean?
And that's good to keep. Yeah, and that's good that, like, I like how you keep, like, yeah, they got that thing in there.
Somebody earth.
That's good. I like how you keep your people in your shop, like y'all do things. I remember I was here when they get my cut. Y'all was planning to go to Top Golf, I think.
Yeah.
And like, that's good that you're able to keep it like team oriented, where people can still like trust you outside of work. Like,
yeah, most definitely. And that's something that I had to work towards, right? Because this is my first business. This is my first time being in this space. This is my first time with a lot of things that I'm doing are first, right? For me. And that came from. It's like you would think to yourself, what things will make me buy more into what's going on? What things are authentic and what's not, right? To me, it's a lot of parts of business ownership that's not authentic. We take a lot of characteristics out of it, and we think we have to address every issue like a business, right? Here's this piece of paper, here's this contract, sign here, let's talk about this, let's set up this meeting. I don't want that, bro. That's not the kind of business I want to work in.
Right.
I don't want a micromanager.
And you can do it how you want to do it.
Yeah, I want somewhere where a lot of people say you can't mix friendships and business. I don't believe that, bro. I feel like as long as the friendship is authentic, it's not going to disrupt business. If anything, it's going to help sustain that business because you have somebody that's as invested as you.
Right.
Or even more.
Yep.
And then a part of that is, my goal isn't to keep my thumb on nobody. My goal is for anybody that come in this space, like I said, I wanted this to be a soft landing point for people who was transitioning into the career. Landing point means that there's also a point for you to go on your own journey. The door swings both ways.
Right, because you were in that position as well.
Exactly, right? So if I sustain a professional working relationship with you, and I've also rendered and created a friendship with you that's authentic, once that door swings the other way, it's not a negative swing.
Right.
That's growth. That's the goal.
And y'all can come back together anytime. Do events, barbering events. Barbering events are huge. We're going to end on this. So barbering events, people don't understand, because I had a close friend. We did music together. He was a barber, and he would go and take me to all his events to use my head to cut me. And people don't understand, like, I feel like there's way more respect in the barber culture than there is, like, in the music hip-hop culture. Like,
Really?
yeah, like events I've been to with like hip hop events, it's like everybody like feel like, you know, it's like they're looking at them like, oh well, I'm the best one in here. At barbering events I've been to, it's like, yo, come check me out, yo, you're dope. It's like it's all love from my experiences. What is your experiences at barber events? And
I mean, you got those egos there. Egos exist. Barbering is so closely related to the music industry because it's all relative to the culture, right?
Exactly.
Arguably, the barber is as important to the culture as the artist,
Right.
because
It's
y'all know Bobby Brown, bro. His barber made a mistake and propelled him to superstardom off a mistake, right? But anyway, long story short, right? I feel like I see what you're saying, but I think the biggest reason is because unlike the music industry, that a lot of the egos go unchecked, right? Well, unlike the barbering industry, a lot of the egos in music go unchecked. People come into music with the same street mentality.
Right.
They approach music with the same street mentality, which is working for them when it's working, but when it's not working, how do you pivot from that? How do you adjust? If you only ever approached it one way and you're not receptive to nobody telling you another way to approach it, there's no way for you to pivot, right? You're cutting off, you ever heard this expression, you cutting off your nose to spite your face?
Yeah.
Right? I feel like, because I've been to some talent shows, right? And these are talent shows, bro. Like, everybody out here to showcase their talent.
Right.
Right? Nobody is buddy-buddy in there. It's like you said, everybody against the wall. Some people don't even show up till it's their turn to get on.
Yep.
I feel like in the barbering industry, you can't approach it that way, because if you do, your ass going to be cut off. It's going to be done for you. Ain't nobody going to represent you. Ain't nobody going to support you, because you come in with more energy desiring people to kiss your ass than you do to help move the industry forward.
And I feel like that's why there's more of like a respect in barbering than, like you said, music, like hip hop is barbering is hip hop culture is barbering. It all ties. But that's why I feel like there's more respect in the barber industry.
I think that's a dope ass question. That's shout out to Cruz.
Nah, because I told you, I feel like
that's finna be the new discussion, bro. That's finna be the next. You'll see. You'll see.
Make sure you tag me in that.
That's a great question, because that's a really good question. Why is it that way?
Like you said, I feel like people are more professional with it than like with hip hop and rap. It's like you can still be a street nigga, but when you barbering, you have to be professional.
But believe it or not, it's still a lot of people who carry that street charisma in barbering too.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about overdo it. Like, still, I mean, it's still gang banging, still.
Yeah, nah, for sure. There's those out there, but me personally, the shows I've been to, I've never seen that at these events. Like, people that take it serious.
Because ain't nobody gonna respect you.
Exactly.
They're not gonna respect you. I think, but even with that, even with all the reasons that a barber wouldn't respect another barber who kind of facilitates that energy, all those same reasons that barbers wouldn't allow for that to exist in the space are the same reasons that rappers shouldn't allow it to exist in a space.
That's true.
Let's be honest. Let's just put it all out there, right?
Yeah.
If you rapping, your career is rapping, and you're gaining any traction with that. Let's be honest. You ain't on the block selling dope no more.
You shouldn't be.
You not getting DP'd no more.
You shouldn't be.
You not calling nobody's meetings no more.
You know, the problem is, though, is that the rappers want to be the street guy.
That's the thing, right? I think it's more rappers coming into rap thinking that because rap coincidentally glorifies street, that they have to be that way. They have
to be that, yeah.
But it's the same people, and we all in this room can agree. If you take the loudest, most boisterous person in any rap room and put him in a room by himself, which is you and him, a lot of that energy will change. That's not saying they pussy. That's not saying that they won't stand on business. None of that. That energy is going to change, though, right? I think without making it a big point, that's kind of what happens at barber shows. You're surrounded by people who sacrifice and work their ass off to get to where they at.
Right.
Then you're surrounded by people who also came into this not really understanding how the magnitude of it.
Mm-hmm.
Rap, you understand how big it is before you ever want to be a rapper, just from seeing
Right.
other rappers.
Exactly.
Barbering, you don't really understand how big it is until you get on the other side of it and you start barbering.
Mm-hmm.
And you start going to shows and you start meeting people who are big names in the industry.
Right.
Right? So it's reverse in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a humbling experience going into it. So when you go into it that way, you get the opportunity that I think a lot of rappers don't get, where you get to take your cues from people who've already came through the door.
Right.
And if you see the biggest names showing respect to the industry and they shaking hands with the people coming in and they're propelling the industry forward in a professional manner, even if it's not all professional,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of taking your cues from that. So the way that you approach it is kind of in a mimic of what you've been taught through them.
Right.
Whereas in rap is so big that everybody sees it a certain way before they integrate themselves into it.
Right.
Then you go to the shows and it's the same way.
Everybody doing the same
Now
shit.
when it's your turn, what you gonna do?
Same shit.
You're gonna be representation of what
They
you
gonna
was
do the
showed
same.
and taught, right?
Yeah. Well, the most people, me personally, yeah, I would go by, my morals, but it's something that, it's like you're gonna be accepted or not. Like some people make a certain type of music until they get to a point and switch their shit up just so they got the attention.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's really subjective.
It's a characteristic thing.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
If you somebody who's comfortable in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you understand who you are, you understand what your goals are. No matter what changes, you're gonna be consistent in you. But I think in music, it's more people coming into the music industry who don't have that characteristic, man.
Right,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
and I don't want to call nobody followers at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of people who still, oh my God, what's the word with children? When children are around something, they impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of adults around that's still impressionable.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know who they are.
They don't. And even if you trying to figure out who you are,
Mm-hmm.
if you trying to figure out who you are and you're not strong-willed, a big enough situation can affect who you become.
Mm. That's a fact.
And music is huge, bro. It's enormous.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me another industry where people would sit millions of dollars and tell you, look, this is yours, but we need you to do this.
And that we need you to do this shit.
We need you to do this. It's that part.
That part.
It's that part. See, Bart, we ain't got that pressure, bro.
Right,
We ain't got that
exactly.
even when you got the clipper companies coming to you, a lot of times they not coming until after you've already established your
Right.
your brand, who you are. So they're purchasing in who you already are, who you've already put yourself out there to be.
Right.
Music industry different, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot of
They come to you when you're putty, like,
yeah.
He
Not
got
like back
that
in the
look.
day. Back in the day, they find talent, but now it's like
they make it.
yeah.
It's a manufacturing plant,
Yeah,
definitely.
Because they set a standard. But Chy, man, it was great talking to you.
Definitely.
I need to get on your podcast.
Definitely, bro.
Which I know a lot about barber, not like but
That's
like
the beauty of you part of the culture, bro.
yeah,
You part of the culture. I've been sharing your music with people, bro.
I'm all right.
Nah, bro. Nah, bro. You got a gift, bro.
It's cool.
You got a gift.
I wish I had more time for it. I
Fuck
would
that
take
humble
more
shit.
shit.
He got a gift. So. He got a gift.
It's pretty cool. But now, new music coming soon. Shout out, Chy. I'm gonna use that for promo and
Say
shit.
less.
So,
Say less.
but now I appreciate you, getting on the show, letting us use your shop, man. It's been a blessing. We getting a lot of people heard out here that nobody even knew, and now important people are looking at them. So I do appreciate you, letting us use this spot.
Anytime, man.
And we are in tune with Chy The Barber, Studio 312, the best barbershop in the borough.
Yeah.
See behind the lens. Let's go.